Namaste, Sasyakal. Good evening, and a very warm welcome to everyone at the Motherhood Club Talk Show with Akta Sehgal. I'm sure each one of you is back to your routine after the summer break, and so are we. We thought that let's start with a big bang and bring in someone who you have met in the past, but today in a new avatar, talking about what the future holds and at the same time building the connect with the past. After all, who you are, what you are, is something that gets built over a period of time. So today with us, we have Dr. Monica Goel Diwan, who very recently has received her PhD. Many congratulations, Monica, and once again, welcome at Motherhood Club. How are you
Thank
doing?
you. Absolutely fantastic, Ekta. And of course, to hear it from someone with the greeting of doctor definitely makes my heart go fonder all the more. So thank you.
Absolutely. And I think it's a great achievement, something that you have worked really hard and have achieved. And indeed, that word, that salutation is special. So, Monica, we've spoken umpteen number of times, and you've been on the Motherhood Club, Club Talk Show as a mom. But today,
Yeah.
we want to meet you, know you, understand you as an individual, as a woman who you are today, how you were as a child, and what does the future hold for you and for the people who you are going to be associated with. So let's take you back in journey. Let's, go back in time to know about not Dr. Monica, but just Monica, the little girl who took birth in this world to her parents. How was it in your growing years?
Okay, Ekta, you're actually taking me into nostalgia. Uh, I think my childhood had been quite similar to what any other childhood would have been. Okay. Doting parents, amazingly loving brother, fantastic extended family, great friends, studious me. The only thing which could have been different, which I can say that created that difference or uniqueness in my childhood, was my ailment. I have been suffering from asthma since I was 2 years old. So that was something which actually created a difference in my entire childhood, the way I was brought up, the way I was taken care of, the various visits to the doctors and the hospitals that I had to undergo. Okay, so uh, asthma is a respiratory disease, right? It causes spasm and phlegm in your windpipe, which causes stress on your breathing, and you're unable to breathe normally. So there are times when you have to really struggle to take that one breath, right? You go blue at times because the oxygen levels go down tremendously. And me being in my 40s till the 90s, early 90s, the medications of asthma in India were very limited, right? We
Right.
did not have certain things like as the nebulizers or the inhalers, which come in very handy in immediately curing the ailment when the attack comes in. So in the initial years, I would say till my teens, I had to depend upon the pills or the syrups, which take their own time to go into your bloodstream and then take care of the ailment and help you recover substantially or gradually. So I have spent a lot of time at home away from my studies because of these frequent asthma attacks I used to get. I have been I've led a extremely protected childhood, away from to be kept away from pollen, to be kept away from dust, to be kept away from fumes, to be kept away from outdoor sports, to be kept away from various food items which generally children love, right? I also used to love, but of course I was not allowed to have them. Something like ice cream, which I genuinely love. Okay. So these things I could not really participate in or enjoy as a normal child, right? And I had, my parents were extremely protective about me. They loved me to the core. I have a younger brother who's 3 years younger to me, and he cared for me not like a younger brother, but like an elder brother. So, because of my ailment, he grew much faster than I did. So, he was one of my caretakers. So, these three people in my family, my dad, my mom, and my brother, they were like the trinity in my life, right? There are
So,
times, which, yep, yes, Ekta.
I mean, you were two, right? And I mean, a 2-year-old barely knows what it means to even fall ill and to
Yeah,
experience something which would impact your day-to-day life activities like playing, running around,
yep,
even dancing for that matter, and
right,
or perhaps even pressure of studies.
yeah,
So, while it's very, very, nice to hear that your parents, your brother, they all were there and they took good care of you. But I'm sure, back in that time, the initial years that you're talking about, there should be a lot of taboo around anyone being ill and ill for
yep,
a longer period of time. And
yes.
if I may add, so more so when it was a girl or it is a girl, there's all those stigmas that get attached to that, and I'm sure somewhere it would have, I mean, I'm assuming would have impacted you. So was it okay with you? Were you hassled? Was the love around you enough for you to deal with it? Or what was your, mechanism to cope with that?
You're absolutely right, Ekta. You know, asthma is called dama in Hindi. And there were many a times wherein my parents and I used to hear these comments to say that, oh, ladki ko dama ho gaya hai. Aage kya hoga uska. And because of asthma, it's not only asthma, but I got impacted otherwise also in terms of physical ailments. So my eyes got impacted severely because of that. So I got a very high number specs in the initial ages only. And which was again an additional thing that, oh, a girl with asthma, with spectacles, we don't know what's going to happen for her. It did impact me. The love was enough to look after me. The love was enough and more to take care of me. But yes, internally, I definitely felt bad. I was upset. I questioned why only me. When I used to see kids roaming around, playing, doing what they wanted to do, you just mentioned dancing. That's one of my, I would say, secret hobby. I would have loved to dabble into it, but I couldn't do it beyond 2 minutes, right? So when I used to see all these kids participating, enjoying, uh, during school also, I used to always get exemptions from participating in any outdoor activity. And I used to be sitting on the fence as an audience with all 99.9% students of my class participating out there in the field, enjoying, chatting around, laughing, and I'm sitting there at the boundary just cheering them up. So it did impact me. It made me, I have been an introvert, but it did really make me all the more introvert. I went deep into me, right? I had no one to share those mental things because my parents around me and my brother, they were busy in looking after me and ensuring that my physical well-being is looked after, right? But it's very difficult to really share these. And as a child, I possibly was not even aware, that I'm really feeling this bad. But I did used to question, why only me? Why not with anybody else?
Would you ever
right?
discuss this with any of your friends? As you mentioned that you would be sitting at the fence and others are playing. So obviously, you become lonely and
Mm-hmm.
alone. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a very deadly combination, to be alone as well as lonely. So, any friends who supported you? I'm sure one of the names would be your own brother who was there taking care of you.
Yeah.
And as you
Yeah.
mentioned, that he perhaps grew up before you. So, did you confide in him or any other friend who could be there? Because I think, the years that you're talking about, no one really spoke about the mental well-being, or for that, I mean, forget that time, even today, there is nothing much that is being spoken about it, but it's still better. So you can still show your expressions,
Hmm.
you can, but to show your inner emotions, and more so when you are a person who's spoiled inside, how did it help? I mean, who was there around you to help you navigate through those tough days?
See, I wouldn't say that I could really open up to my brother also. There were, I don't know, talking to my brother, being a younger brother, though looking after me and all that, but sharing what I'm feeling was tough. Was not, it did not come naturally to me. I might have confided in me when I grew up. Definitely not during my school. During my school days, all my friends, I had a lot of friends. It's not that I was deprived of friendships. I had a lot of friends. They were all around me. They used to look after me, right? That, okay, Moni is not well, so she needs to be looked after, right? We need to probably walk a little slow to be with her, right? Or possibly we need to bring certain food items for her because she cannot eat everything. Or possibly, how do we engage her in different sports activities that we are doing? So all that was there. But if you say that having a heart to heart conversation, it came in only in my college days, right? So nothing during the school days. So possibly you can say nothing in the first 18 to 19 years. Eventually, when I stepped into the world during my college, is when I started opening, right? And the opening came in two ways. One, of course, I had to face the world all by myself because so far I had been living a protected life, right? Everything was done by my parents and my brother. I led like I actually lived like a princess. I did not have to even get up to get a glass of water. That also was handed over to me. So that's the life I led. During college, of course, you have to go out, you have to do certain things yourself, you have to travel in buses, etc. So all that happened, and then I found a way of writing. I found a way of expressing myself in form of words. So that is where it started. So words, my journals, my diaries, they became my first, I would say, confider, whom I confided my inner feelings. What have I gone through? Why am I? In fact, it started off with the same question: why only me? My initial diaries were filled with pain, the deprivation that I've gone through, the things that I have missed in life, or when I see somebody enjoying, what do I feel at that time? So these were the things. Friends, I made fantastic friends. So there were a couple of friends who were there in school with me who continued in college. So these were the couple of friends whom I shared my first feelings. Right? We are still in touch. One of them is in India, one of them is in US. So those are the two people initially. And then I would say my good set of friends came in during when I started working. During my MBA days, I made a set of friends which are much closer now what they used to be at that time. They were, again, as I said, people that I've come across in my entire life, Ekta, I can say that everybody had been extremely helpful. They people have been there to pick up my bags. People have been there to help me move up the stairs. People have been helped me to ferry from home to college or home to office or back. I found a lot of such people like that. And I have genuine gratitude to God for giving me such people around me. Yeah. In terms of
Hmm.
confiding, uh, I have two sets of uh, two people right now whom I share a great rapport with, whom I confide in everything, whatever that I'm thinking of, or what I'm planning to do, or what I'm doing right now, everything. And then there are a couple of friends which whom I made during my working days. So those friends are again a separate set of friends. Generally people say in corporate you don't find friends, but I defied that, and I still have those three friends. I won't name anybody, but I believe they would realize it themselves. And those three friends know in and out of what's happening. Right? Of course, a
That's
lot of things they don't know because everybody has moved in their own life and they're doing certain things. But yes, I know that people that I have connected with me, whether it was my school friends, few of my school friends, college friends are not really too many in touch, but then MBA set of friends, that's like a bunch of, I would say, the closest bunch of friends that I have. Then few people or few friends from my working tenure, and then a couple of friends that I've made outside my working tenure. So these people are there as and when I need them. So this is what I'll say. These are the set of people wherein I've vented out, I've shared to some extent in different intensities with everybody.
absolutely. I think it's very important to have these communications,
Yes.
sometimes with people who who know us, sometimes with unknown people, because you
Yeah.
never know what kind of guidance, what kind of support you get. And I
Correct.
think when God closes one door, there are many other doors that definitely get opened.
Yep.
Before we move on to the next phase of your life, which is a very natural progression for anybody, be it a man or a woman,
Hmm.
before I get there, in your growing years, given that you were having an ailment which you continue to have, but definitely are in a better spot, were there any experiences that you had where you were, either rushed to the hospital, or it was, like, don't know which side are we headed to?
Innumerable. Innumerable is the number that I can say. There are countless such incidences. And so, starting from childhood, from the time I remember, of course, there would be memories which I don't have. From the time I remember, suddenly the attack will come in, and my mom will have to rush to the neighbors to take me to the hospital because I've gone blue. Dad is in the office. So it happened many a times. There was one time that I remember vividly is wherein the hospital that we used to go to, uh, I was at there. They gave me all the nebulizers, medicines, blah blah blah, and everything. And but finally, they declared that she's going really bad. She needs to be rushed to the bigger facility, to the different hospital, which was almost, I would say, 20 minutes away.
Oh,
Yeah. So my brother, my dad, and fortunately we had a car at that time. So I was gasping for air, and they rushed me to the hospital, wherein I was admitted to the ICU, wherein I had gone absolute blue. All my nails and everything had gone blue, which means that my oxygen levels were extremely low.
down.
Yeah. And at that time, I don't know what I was in right now. So at that time, one incident which clearly is like there in my mind always is the nurse, when she was trying to insert the IV, she faltered and the blood oozed out,
Oh God.
and because of which my BP went up. and my oxygen levels went down all the four. It plummeted. So it was like they lost me. And the doctor suddenly rushed in, and he almost slapped the nurse. And he was like, "Don't you realize that she is in tremendous pain and all that?" And while she was doing it, they were also trying to change my clothes. So which made it all the more difficult. They were trying to do everything together because they had to
God.
put me in ICU. So the doctor came in and he took the situation in his control. He inserted the IV, and then he pacified me. And then I was in ICU for, I think, 4 days. So that was one incident that I remember vividly. And during my school days, it was a normal thing to visit the doctor for a blood sample and a blood checkup and go to the school after that. Very normal thing, right? Even in my college, happened many a times. During my office days, I have been admitted to the what do you say, emergency in the night, right? I would possibly be discharged in the morning, go home, freshen up, and go to office. I've done it many a times, many a times, with that band-aid on my arms, on my hand, that okay, I've been pricked here and I've been pricked there. So the second worst incident that I would remember would be when I was pregnant and I had an asthma attack.
You
So
fell down.
that no, I had an asthma attack. So that was one thing which really scared me for life. I was like, I am losing two lives.
Okay, I wanted to pause here and let me absorb this. I have goosebumps hearing this. And
Okay.
I'm sure, for all our viewers across Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, perhaps those of you who know Monica may not know this aspect of her life, how she struggled through her growing years, and yet she is where she is. And I mean, I'm sorry for you to remember all these things again, but I think it is important for people to know that, you know, a lot happens in our life. And when
Yeah.
you look at someone, you may not know what they go through or what they are experiencing just because they have a smile on the face or they are trying to achieve something in life.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot goes behind the scenes to be able to reach there. And before we go any further, thank you everyone for whoever has joined in today and is hearing. Pour in your questions, comments, and I'd love to read them for Monica. So, Monica, definitely childhood was tough, right? And in any and every way. And as it is, as a child, there is so much to be done. You have to
Yeah.
study, you have to, kind of create that foundation for yourself to be able to, move ahead in life. Did all of this had an impact on your studies? Were you given that leeway that ठीक है कोई बात नहीं, health first, पढ़ाई हो जाएगी, or did you struggle to take your exams? Did that have a bearing on your college, your post graduation, and in the subsequent years, when you were working?
See, my studies were definitely impacted, Ekta, for sure, because I had to skip school days many a times. It was normal. And if you know, when it comes to asthma, it generally, the attack generally comes in during the change season, season change time, which happens in September, October, and Feb, March. And from a
Exam
school
times.
perspective, these are the examination times. So I I still remember I was I had an asthma attack. It was my English final exam. So at that time, English used to be divided into two exams, grammar and the literature. So it was a English final exam, and I had an attack. But I was like adamant that I have to go to, and I'm missing my exam. I will lose an year and this and that. So as soon as I could be a little better. My grandfather was there. My dad was traveling at that time. So my grandfather and my mom, took me to the school in an auto. But by the time we reached the school, the examination was about to get over. So I was
Oh,
not allowed. So I missed that, but I secured 54 out of 60 marks in my literature exam. So out of 120 marks, I was passed. But yes, it did impact my percentage, which did impact my ranking, right? I have been one of the top three students forever. And while I was deprived of outdoor activities, books and studies was my solace. So whatever time that I could get, and whenever I was absolutely all right, I read enough and more books. And my dad used to ensure that my books never go out of stock. Right. So I have read anything and everything, whether it is Enid Blyton or the Famous Five series or the Sherlock Holmes or something like a Sarita or a Greh Shobha. Right. I remember when the new session start, the books come in, my English and Hindi books. I used to finish reading all the stories before the session starts. That was my love for books. So yes, it did impact. I possibly could have done a little better in case my health conditions were different, but I won't really regret that. I'm very happy in the space that I am right now. Always, as you look back, everybody would have some regrets, but I think they are more than okay for me to live on now.
Well, I think if you had a choice and then not, exercise it, then perhaps to have a regret is
Hmm.
understandable. But a situation which is beyond your control, to fret about it, that
Yeah,
because of this couldn't happen. Well, there was
it's
not
okay.
much that you could change.
Yeah,
Perhaps that's how you were born, and that were some experiences that you perhaps had to.
yeah.
But when I look at life closely, having been experienced with a lot of stuff
Hmm.
myself,
Hmm.
sometimes I feel that some of those unpleasant experiences, which are unpleasant at that moment,
Hmm.
when you grow up and when you look back, sometimes they help define you.
Yeah, they do.
Did you experience anything like that? That because all of that happened, you became something, or you became something different than what you would have thought otherwise.
Yes, absolutely, Ekta. I think you're just hitting the nail all the time. Initial years, because of ailment, stress, pressure, uh, deprivation, etc. But I think all these things made me stronger and absolutely sure of being a winner in what I want to do, and gave me that purpose. So it's a two pronged purpose that I possibly got because of the situations that I went through. One, of course, to be someone someday. I don't want to be anyone. There are enough and more anyones in the world. I always wanted to be someone in the world. If not many, there would be some people who would look up to me and some people who would get inspired by me. And the second purpose that came out of my experiences was to help and support people who are in similar situations. Okay, so it just, I'm automatically drawn towards such kids or such people, who are going through this ailment. A recent example, I had someone in the hospital, so I had to stay with the person for some days, and the next door there was a child whom I could hear coughing, and the whizzing sound, etc. Wheezing sound was there. So immediately it came to me, those old childhood days, that okay, something is not right, this is asthma. So I went, and I just went without any expectations. I just went there and I asked her, who's the person, and it was a child. I spoke to the mother, spoke to the child, and next 3 4 days that I was there, being a caretaker, I also spend some quality time with that family, sharing some of my experiences, what is it that they can do as parents. And I'm glad that they were more than happy and willing to hear me out. And the child was happy to play Ludo with me. So we had good time there. So, you
Absolutely.
know, I couldn't do much. I'm not a doctor. But if my experiences can help somebody, what I've missed, if I can just help them that, okay, this is what you can possibly think of doing, explore it out. Why not?
Absolutely. I think sometimes more than the medical, you know, line of action or anything, these positive connects,
Yeah.
the empathy that you have for someone that, okay, I have been through, I can share my experiences and maybe that would help you. And even if it makes 1% of a difference, I think that 1%,
Yeah.
perhaps is equivalent to 100% also, because
True.
with medicines and physical changes and everything, I think the happiness, someone who's trying to understand you is equally important. And I think if everyone around us understands this bit, perhaps we'll all be in a better spot and we'll be able to have a
Absolutely.
constant smile on our face, and the stress, the anxiousness, the anxiety, everything perhaps could be put to rest.
Absolutely.
So, Monica, let's fast forward a little bit and
Hmm.
get you to a point where, you know, life changes again for
Hmm.
each individual, is when you know, become a Mrs. from a Miss, right? We've worked. Now there is obviously, pressure in a very chronological order sequence that, okay, ab bhai shadi wadi kar lijiye. So, how is it for you, getting married? And did you have any fear, getting married or having children, that given that you have this challenge, uh, did it bother you that if you could pass it on to the new life? Anything, any such experience or any such thoughts that you had, or you had overcome them by the time you had reached that stage of your life?
I'm getting goosebumps now, Ekta, because it seems that you're reading my mind. Or possibly you were there in as a ghost when I was going through all these things, because you are actually talking or saying the things that I've gone through. Okay, marriage didn't come easy to me. Of course, when it comes to getting into an arranged marriage, asthma, glasses, complexion, all these are taboos being a female. So there were challenges for sure, and I was scared, right? Because I don't know what kind of family would I get into. Would they really accept my ailment? If suddenly I have an attack and the person doesn't understand what to do, what will I, how will I handle it? So far, I have three people who are, circling around me all the time. What will happen there? So I had my fears for sure. And I used to speak about these fears to my mom, my dad, my brother. So all these discussions used to happen pretty openly, right? But of course, as parents, they used to say, no, 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 things will be fine and all that. Fortunately, I met my life partner while I was working, and he knew about my situations from day one, right? And I did explain to him in terms of what does this mean, because for him, this was the first time that he was meeting somebody with this ailment, right? And there was nobody in his family or extended family who had this, so he had no idea. So I explained it to him, what all does it mean, what all can I do, what all can't I do, what can be the challenges. We did speak about it, our having our own family, and I had this fear from day one that medically it is said that in case you have an ailment, 50% chances are there that your child would uh, get it.
Inherited, yeah,
Yeah, it
genetically.
will inherit it. So I always had it. So there was a point in time that, okay, I used to say, oh, should I not have a child and possibly adopt somebody? So my husband used to just let it go. He's like, okay, relax, don't worry, we'll figure it out when we reach there. So as of now, let's decide. I am blessed to say that my in-laws family, my husband, it's been almost 18 years now. My ailment has never been a topic to be discussed in this family at all.
Wonderful. That's
Not at
amazing.
all. Not at all. Ever. If it has been discussed, it has been discussed out of concern that okay, I've figured out that doctor, can you visit that doctor? Or maybe there is somebody who does acupressure there, can you visit that? They would possibly be pounding on my husband to take me to that place so that things can be better. When these people are around, I don't have to even bother about working. All my household things and all are taken care by them. So from that perspective, zero, I would say, negativity, absolute positivity, and I'm loved the way I am.
Wonderful.
Whether it is my glasses, my complexion, my height, or my health, anything. And I'm loved because of my intelligence, because of my capabilities, because of the stature that I have got, because of my positivity that I bring in, because of my laughter, lot of things. So they all adore me from that perspective. Their kids adore me, right? I'm a great mommy, right? Who's always there, who's the first person to be approached in case they need some advice.
Wonderful.
So that's there. Uh, I would say that when it comes to having the child, yes, as I said, I had those fears. So when we were even thinking of conceiving also, I had this fear. Now this fear was taken away by my gynae. So again, a huge respect to her, for her, that she took away this fear. She's like, see, I cannot say that it will not happen, but I cannot even say that it will happen. So something which you're not sure of, why not give it a try and explore? You can't sit on the fence and say, oh, what if it happens?
Absolutely.
Open the door and see whether it happens or not. Maybe it doesn't happen. And I'm glad to say that it does not happen. So I'm happy.
Super. No, and I'm sure your son is very actively playing sports and all the other things also.
Yes.
So I'm sure there is
Yes.
nothing to worry and you can put it to rest.
Right.
Great. So, well, I guess that's a concern or a fear that every mother has, that should there be any challenge, especially in terms of health, could you pass
Yes.
it on to your child? And, that fear. And it's not just about the, sorry, having the ailment with the mother, but it could be with the
Mhm.
father also. After all, both of
Yep.
them are, equal contributors to bring in that new soul
Yes.
into this world.
Yep.
So I'm glad that, is no longer a fear for you.
Hmm.
But as they say that, life is always up to something or the other, and there are
Yep.
these roller coaster rides, and I'm glad
Yep.
that they are there, because if it's a straight line, well, we all know what
Mm.
it means, right? So
Yeah.
you've spent over 2 decades working in the corporate space,
Yep.
right? And for the benefit of everyone, as you can see under her name, it says founder, NaMo Consulting Services. And we got this yesterday on LinkedIn, and which tells me that Monica is no longer working as a corporate professional, but has perhaps started a new journey, a new phase of her life of being an entrepreneur. Is that right?
Absolutely, Ekta. And I think I have enough and more inspirations around me, right? Who've inspired me, motivated me, pushed me, coaxed me, cajoled me, did everything, to help me find my true purpose, right? As I said, my purpose was to support, help, guide people. And I love talking to people. I love trying to understand them. I love trying to see in case I can find a way of giving them, if not giving them, but at least helping them find a solution. Okay. So as a corporate professional for almost what, more than 2 decades now, I have been dabbling into these things as a coach and a mentor while in the office. I have been into leadership coaching, I've been into NLP practices, etc. And I've been doing a little bit of philanthropy work also. I've been working with some kids around my households also. So all those things have been happening, but they were happening on as and when basis, right? So there was no structure to it. And I used to feel incomplete, that okay, something is missing. Corporate is an interesting journey wherein you get highly paid, you respected, you get a name, you get a chair, you get a presence, everything is there. But somewhere internally I was feeling that my purpose is yet to be fulfilled, whether it's in the way of uh, let's say coaching somebody or training somebody or mentoring a team or anything, or just helping the new businesses or the small scale businesses find their ground. Okay, so that is when I finally decided, I think uh, this seed was sown many many years back, but it started taking a little more concrete shape in the last quarter of 2024. And if you look at it honestly, I gave it exactly 9 months to be conceived and be born. So from the last quarter of 2024 to the Q3 of 2025 is when the child of, which is called NaMo Consulting Services, really came out.
Nama is a very interesting name. And before you explain that, I can completely resonate with your thought because what, 2012, 11. So almost 13, 14 years back, that's the step that I took where I hung my corporate boots and perhaps, a similar journey that, okay, what's my calling, what's my purpose, and, what is it that I wish to do, and how, more importantly, how do I want to do it? How do I want to be known as, recognized as someone who's okay, just doing a job, or is there more to it? And well, of course, not to get into my journey because that a lot of people already know, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's been almost 13, 14 years of being, an entrepreneur, having spent 2 dozen years of working. And, now I very proudly say that I'm in my 25th year of working, and, so many years as a professional and so many years as an entrepreneur. But yes, I think, for a lot of us, there is a point in time where we start thinking about this, that what next, what more. And sometimes it goes beyond the obvious of earning money, that position, that status, the chair. Because when all of that goes, that's when the question comes, that who are you,
Yep.
right? And because the chair is not yours, the chair is a borrowed chair from someone, and it is
Yep.
the respect and the regard to that chair. And of course, as an individual, nothing takes away your effort, your capabilities and ability. लेकिन सलाम कुर्सी को जाता है, unfortunately, whether we like it or
Absolutely.
not,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
what is Namo? We only know one Namo. I mean, two, okay, right? One, of course, is the Almighty, the Supremo, and one is the other Supremo who's running the country. What is this? What does it stand for?
Okay. So the story of naming this firm as NaMo is super exciting and interesting if you look at it, because it just happened. I had actually thought and discussed a different name for the consulting firm with my two very close friends and my family, my husband and my son. And we had decided that this is the name that we will keep. And we had almost finalized the logo also. One morning, I woke up and I tell my husband that I've decided that we'll register our name in the firm in the name of NaMo Consulting Services. He's like, yeah, it sounds fine. Mika, yeah, Namo is what? You and me and in between Arush. And coincidentally, this is taking the shape and taking a bow to the Almighty also. So it just happened. And then he was like, but do you think that just with two of our names, it will be the right thing to put in the word as a consulting services? So like, no, of course not. So what am I planning to do? Initially, what I had thought was that we will be helping people elevate their learnings, and execute it effectively, etc. I was like, okay, so what are we trying to do in our consulting services? We are trying to nurture their ambitions and aspirations, right? So that they can be continuously on a growth trajectory, right? So, NaMo, the full form of NaMo is navigating ambitions and maximizing outcomes.
Wonderful. Amazing. And I think that's the need of the hour for everyone.
Yeah. So, whether it's in your personal space or in the professional space, whatever ambitions, whatever aspirations that you might have, right? We are there to help you navigate through the path, whether you want to set up a business, or you want to dabble into your personal growth, or you want to look at your, let's say, team's growth or anything. And we will help you maximize your objectives that you would have defined.
Super. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, all the very best for this new
Thank you.
initiative and a very
Thank you.
interesting story behind the name. And,
Thank you.
I guess another commonality, because when I set up the company and we named it as Manas, well, Manas means intellect, and that kind of
Yeah.
in some way befits the work that, Manas Wealth does. But Manas also stands for the first letter of all my family members before my marriage. So, it just kind of came in together. And I remember as a child, my mom wanted to open a crèche, like a,
Hmm.
daycare kind of a thing. And
Sure.
so I had once created a business plan and we had named it as NAM, which was the
Oh,
alphabets of,
nice.
right? Yeah, it was NAMS, right? NAAMS. And when, you know, coincidentally, when my brother and I, we both branched out to be on our own, that NAMS just kind of, happened, and we obviously had to make a little more sense to what the name
Hmm.
is. So his company is also called Manas, and so is mine at our own
Wow.
levels. So he's based overseas, mine is here. So
Hmm.
I guess some things are, the way they are, and they just kind of happen, and it's a flash of a moment that, okay, this
Yeah.
is what it is. And
Yeah.
sometimes you create the whole thing and then get an abbreviation to it, and sometimes it's the other way around. So
Yes.
wonderful. It's very, very interesting. And let me read out some comments. We've completely forgotten to read out the comments here. And it was very interesting to talk to you. So Eli is saying that stepping into a new zone like marriages, as it is full of uncertainty and doubts, in your
Yeah.
case it mustn't have been easy for you. And
Sure.
you're beautiful inside out. And she remembers conversation where you mentioned that how your nieces come to you for advice.
Yeah.
Poonam Bhatnagar, she's saying that this conversation is very impressive. Rashmi Sanganera is saying Namo means namaskar also. So
Yeah. It does.
absolutely, I think that's the first connect, or the first verbal and non-verbal connect that you make with a human being, of greeting them, saying namaskar or namo. And of course, so I think the blessings are already there in the name itself.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you would do well with all the experience that you have professionally and personally, because I think work is not just about being qualified, but it's also about bringing in the emotions, the empathy.
Hmm.
But you did mention, there was this one point that was constantly going on in my head, Monica, that
Mm.
in the initial part of the conversation, you mentioned that you were an introvert,
Yep.
right? And now, when we were talking about NaMo Consulting, you said that you like talking to people. Now, that's a huge spectrum. An introvert to someone who likes talking to people, coaching them, being an HR professional whose main role or job is to engage with people. And when you engage with people, you don't keep quiet, you don't coil inside. What's the story there?
Okay. See, if you look at it from an introvert extrovert perspective, I am an introvert. Even all the psychometric analysis prove that. Okay. I am a reader. I am a writer. I love sitting alone. I love spending time with myself. And I really love it. And I genuinely mean it. Okay. But the portfolio that I took, which is human resources, it's all about connecting with the people. And if you don't talk, you can't connect with people. Communication is the key to open up the locks of the inner desires, the inner thoughts, or people's minds and hearts. So I worked on it consciously, Ekta, right? And I think my experiences, my readings, etc., also helped me develop this skill set or the competency of mine, right? And this personality side, I would say, wherein I feel that I can talk to anybody in any situation today. Recent, again, a very recent example, a few days back, we went, so it was like with family. I went for this ambience mall, and we went to this Lego store. It was a new Lego store which has opened there. So we went there, and I was just hovering around with nothing much to do. And Arush, my son, was also there. And there was this young girl who was standing besides a pillar with her father. She would be again 10, 11 years old, maybe 9, 10 years old. And she was looking at the wall, which was made of Lego blocks, and it was an India gate made on the pillar. And she was just looking, and her father was constantly asking her, what is it, what is it? So I just went on to her, hey, just move back and look at it now, can you see it? She's like, yeah. I go, do you know what building is this? I just strike the conversation with her. She answered my question, waved me goodbye, and we departed. And my son comes to me and tells me, only you can be a coach. Out of nowhere. So he's like, only you can be a coach. So I feel that, okay, it was a child, but to strike a conversation at a store with a stranger when the father is also around does not come easy all the time, right? Or I told you about that experience in the hospital,
Right,
right? So why would the parents want to share the details and the history of their children with somebody whom they don't know, who's not a doctor, right? But we did open up, we shared, we discussed. And I remember exchanging pleasantries with them as and when we used to cross paths while she was going for the checkup or I was taking my patient for the checkup, etc. So that's how I am now. Walking on the road, I can talk to somebody. I One thing that I live by is smile. Okay. I remember this beautiful ad of Good Day by Deepika Padukone, wherein she says smile. This entire advertisement is all about having a smile on your face, and the situations change.
absolutely.
So whether it is a guard or a lift man or your house help or strangers, a smile doesn't cost anything, but it helps opening up. So
Well,
smile
yeah,
and communicate.
it not only helps open up with strangers, but I think it also gives a signal to the brain that you are happy. And if you're
Yes.
happy, then a lot of things around you get settled. And
Yeah.
sometimes you do need to tell your brain that, hey, you know what, you are just reading too much. I'm fine. That smile is telling you. So I
Yep.
think, a big takeaway for all of us here is that it is very, very important to communicate, to smile, and also that there would be situations in life where you would question, why me? Or why
Yep.
only me, as Monica did to herself.
Yep.
But At times, you need to let go. You need to accept that this is the situation that I need to surrender to. Because
Hmm.
once you surrender, once you accept, perhaps it's more clearer to figure out as to what is it that you wish to do. How do you get there? How do you navigate your ambitions and maximize your outcome? I think that is also a key takeaway and learning which is there from this conversation. So, Monica, indeed, very, very interesting to know about your journey. Of course, a lot of those goosebump moments where, it's unimaginable that how, as a young girl, as a child, you would have, you know, sailed through those difficult moments and how you would have, every time you broke, you collected yourself and got back to, okay, I need to, go ahead, whether it was to be positive towards the people who were taking care of you, which in your case was your family, your brother, your parents, or in general for your own self. Like, nahi, mere ko ladna hai, I cannot give up. Whatever it was, I think that indeed has shaped you and maybe also given you a perspective to understand the human mind, the
Yes,
people
it does.
around you, professionally, personally,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's coming handy in your work also, right?
Absolutely.
And I think the whole conversation today was having a lot of messages, so I am not going to ask you that question, that what's your message to people, but I can't let you go without you reading a poem of yours. So anything that you have that you would have written in your younger days,
Hmm.
as you mentioned that when you started to write or your journals, it was full of why me, pain,
Hmm.
despair. So anything that you would like to share from that time?
Before I go that side, Ekta, I will just say one thing. You spoke about the
Sure.
message. I would not say as a message per se, but I will just tell everyone or just request everyone to not stop living and not stop learning and not stop being curious. Okay, because life is never a straight line. A straight line is equal to death in the medical sentence, right? So you need to have those ups and downs,
Absolutely.
and if you live through it, life is superbly beautiful. uh, just do it, and I firmly believe in that if you think of just doing it, everything will come very automatically to you. Okay, so okay, I'll just read out. Okay,
So while she's looking for
just
her
give me
poem,
a second.
very important to not just
Okay,
exist
it's
but actually live
it
your
would
life.
possibly resonate.
Yes, please.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, okay. So the title of this poem is Ek Adhuri Kahani. Okay, हर कहानी अधूरी सी है, सिर्फ लगता है कि पूरी सी है। हर कोई वक्त की मार से पस्त है, सुबह सुबह भी लगता है कि सूरज अस्त है। करना बहुत कुछ है, पर वक्त कम है। सबकी इच्छा ना पूरी कर पाई, यही एक गम है। वो बची हुई चाय, आधी पड़ी हुई किताब, दिल में दर्द, मुंह पर हंसी, जैसे चेहरे पर हो नकाब। वो चलते चलते रुक जाना, अचानक ही चल पड़ना, दिल में दबी बात जुबां पे ना लाना, मन में प्यास एक दबी सी आस, यूं ही जिंदगी के थपेड़े सहते चले जाना। एक सुंदर कल की कल्पना, वो रचनाकार करेगा कोई नई रचना, इसी भरोसे में अपने आज को भूल जाना। बच्चों का बचपन, बूढ़ों का बुढ़ापा, सब नजरअंदाज कर देना। जान ले ए दिल, यह वक्त किसी का सगा नहीं है, ना जाने किस मोड़ पे दगा दे देगा। चल, थोड़ी सी हम भी जी लें ये खूबसूरत सी जिंदगी, इस खालीपन में भर दें कुछ रंग। थोड़ी हंसी परिवार और दोस्तों के साथ, थोड़ा घूमना घुमाना, एक पढ़ी हुई किताब, वो सुबह की मुस्कुराती हुई उबासी, वो शाम का अलसाना। आओ इस अधूरेपन को कर दे कुछ पूरा सा. So this is, I would say, this summarizes all what we've spoken, right? So starting from feeling deprived, starting from that incompleteness in the childhood, to that feeling of doing something purposeful, and then taking that stance of, yes, let's go out and do it. So today, as I venture into it, I know that I want to spend some more time with my family. I want to spend some more time with my friends. I want to spend some more time with myself. And for sure, I want to spend a lot of time with people out there, right, whom I can help, support, guide in any manner.
Absolutely. So, well, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, life is a roller coaster ride. Make the most of it. Enjoy all the ups and downs because that's what shapes you, makes you. And there are many incomplete stories that we have. बहुत सारी अधूरी कहानियां हैं हमारी जिंदगी में. कई प्याले चाय के जो हमने छोड़ दिए, कई रिश्ते जो हमें छोड़ के चले गए या हमने छोड़ दिए, या कुछ ऐसी बातें जो हम भूल गए हैं. शायद एक मैसेज है यहाँ पे मोनिका की कविता के माध्यम से, उनकी अपनी कहानी के माध्यम से, कि कई बार जो चीजें टूट जाती हैं या छूट जाती हैं उन्हें दोबारा से उठाया जा सकता है. और कल हो ना हो, लिव इट टू द मोस्ट.
Yes,
जैसा कि मैंने अपनी किसी एक कविता में कहा था कि सारथी भी मैं हूँ, सवारी भी मैं हूँ. तो
बिल्कुल.
अगर मुझे आगे बढ़ना है तो मुझे खुद को तो साथ लेके चलना ही चलना है, लेकिन मुझे औरों को भी साथ लेके चलना है. और अगर हम ये सब इंटरनलाइज कर लें, समझ लें कि it is not about pulling someone down, but it is about pulling
But
yourself and the other person up. I think a
absolutely.
lot can be achieved. And that's the sense that I get after hearing Monica, that what is she
Yes.
wanting to do. It is indeed a very difficult, decision to quit a work, like a job where
Yeah.
you have your name, your space, of course, the money flows in, you command respect and a lot of other things. But I know it isn't a difficult, decision. It is a very difficult decision and requires a lot of courage. So kudos to you to have been able to take that step. And of
Thank
course,
you.
the family stands by in those
Yes.
decisions. That really adds a lot of weight to it.
Yeah.
So onward and forward, Monica, all the very best. And let's
Thank
keep
you.
hearing from you what's happening at NaMo Consulting Services. And, I'm sure a lot of us would be thinking, if not yet already, job chhonu kya? You have people to talk to who can
Yeah.
help you, guide you. So good luck and enjoy, and very enriching conversation. Thank you, Sonia, for this. Thank you, Kamal ji. आपके लिए तारीफ कर रहे हैं, बहुत ही सुंदर कविता पढ़ी है आपने मोनिका. एंड कमल जी कह रहे हैं, तू जिंदा है तो जिंदगी की जंग को जीत पर यकीन कर. The bend is never the end, Monica, is what Shweta I think. Absolutely. In fact, end
Fantastic. Yeah.
is effort, never dies. And if someone says no, it means look for the next opportunity. So
Yes.
good luck and thank you everyone for joining in and to hear what Monica had to share. Till we meet again, take care. Signing off for today. This is Ekta Sehgal at Motherhood Club. Bye bye and take care.
Thank you.
And
Bye
thank you
bye.
very much, Monica. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.